Gye-Nyame Journey presents 7 Sticks, The Secret of Millennium's 7 by Gye-Nyame. Stories written and retold by Gye-Nyame. Music provided by Orange 82. Dedication. Thanks to all storytellers who came before me, laying the building blocks for successful culture building throughout the world. Other books by the author: Player's Pyramid, Gye-Nyame Journey Workbook, The Lost Art of Storytelling, Poetry is My Religion, Warrior's Handbook for Life's Journey. All can be found at www.gyenamejourney.com. Chapter 1: The 7 Sticks. Once there was a wise man who, through his good business sense, became very wealthy. In his youth, he was fortunate enough to hear about a wise man by the name of Elder, who was famous for creating scrolls that were said to bring fortune to the ones who purchased them. For more information about Elder, check out the scroll at www.gyenamejourney.com. Side note: the man saved up for many years and eventually invested in his own scroll. Soon after purchasing the scroll, he became a good friend of Elder's and began to learn the secrets of Gye, the founder of the Gye-Nyame people. This wisdom helped this young man prosper in all worlds. IMESP. Side note: IMESP is an acronym that stands for Intuition, Mental, Emotional, Spiritual, and Physical Qualities and Aspects of the World. On a daily basis, this man studied his scrolls and any other scrolls that brought him closer to wisdom. The words engraved on the beautiful scroll that had been given to him and written for him by Elder were: tradition must change, and you must be the agent to prosper in life. This man followed these words, and his life benefited from it. He eventually married and had children. Each one of the children received the name that he took from his scrolls. Each name reminded him of a principle of success and joy. He was blessed with 4 boys and 3 girls. His children grew and received their own scrolls and entered the world. All of them were successful in life, but none of their wealth could compare with their father's. Even if they combined their wealth, they could not outdo their father. His children all went in their own direction. They rarely got together because they were too busy trying to outdo each other. The tradition at the time proclaimed that the child that did the best received the simple share of the family inheritance at the death of the matriarch or patriarch of the family. So each of his children fell into the mind state of competition, and from this competition, the unbalanced 7 began to take hold in their lives. His children could not come together without bickering and fighting. As the old man felt his life coming to an end, he sent word to each of his children to come to see him immediately. As they each arrived, the fighting began. The old man listened, and it brought sorrow to his heart that his own children could not even come to see him in his last days without insulting and fighting amongst themselves. When he could take no more, he rose from his sickbed and commanded them to stop. He had them follow him in silence to the dining room and had them all sit down. A table was set up for them already, and the best flatware was laid out at the table. Everything was perfect, except for a stick that was lying on the plate. Everyone was baffled and could not drum up the words to ask why was there a single stick on each of their plates. The old man noticed the perplexed look that his children had, and he began to giggle. Now, before any of you accuse me of being out of my mind or think that I have that old man disease, I want to assure you of my sanity. I had my servants set the table for you, and yes, I had them put a stick upon the plate. The old man said with a look of joy that only comes when you know something that others don't. The eldest brother looked at his father, then at his brothers and sisters, and then back at the plate and at his father again. Father, do you expect us to eat these sticks? The senior brother said, looking at his father with a very serious look of concern. Yes and no, the father said with a smile. Before anyone could respond. No, I don't expect you to eat them physically, but I pray that you eat them mentally, because within those sticks is the wealth, success, joy, and power that all of you are seeking. The father began laughing, and his children also laughed, although you could tell they felt uneasy. This was a confusing time for them. They were not used to this type of behavior from their father, and plus he looked physically frail. The father leaned forward, using the table to support himself as he rose to his feet slowly, looking at each one of his children for a moment before speaking. My beautiful sons and daughters, you all have made me very proud, even though you fight amongst yourselves as if you were still young babes. Each of you have made your mark on the world. As all of you know, my moments in this phase of life is drawing to a close, and I have decided who I will pass my earthly earnings to. As I said, each of you have made your mark on the world, but have failed to make a mark in each other's hearts. Pausing to take a sip of water, slowly bringing the cup to his mouth before he continued. What I fear most is that I have failed you as a father, for I know in my heart that each of you would rather have my material wealth rather than the knowledge that helped me build it. Resting both of his arms on the table and dropping his head in sorrow or maybe shame, he waited for a response from his children. Father, he heard the voice of his second oldest child shout out. This is not true. She stood to her feet and looked at all her brothers and sisters before she spoke. I think that I speak for all of us. You have done all that you could to raise us, and you definitely have not failed. Pausing and looking around the table for confirmation, she continued to speak. We are not as foolish as you may think. For us to take your wealth and ignore the wisdom that produced it would be the equivalent of taking a few nuggets of gold in trade for the rights of the mine that produced the gold. You have taught us better than that. The old man looked up with a smile. Does my daughter speak the truth? All at once the children responded, she speaks the truth. The old man slowly sat down in his chair with a look of disbelief on his face. Then if what she is saying is the truth, then today all of you will demonstrate that you have learned from me. Taking a deep breath and closing his eyes to think, I named each one of you after a principle that I needed in my life at the time of your birth. unity, determination, responsibility, gratitude, purpose, creativity, and trust. I often told all of you stories that I hope will give you the secrets of living a good life. Now in my final days, you will give back to me what I gave to you. You say that I have taught you well. Now it's time for the students to show that they have become the teachers. Each of you will be tasked with reaching back into your childhood and sharing with me this moment one of my stories. When everyone has shared, I will decide who I will leave my wealth to. All the children sat back in silence and shock. Their father had told them thousands of stories, but to regurgitate one right now on the spot without preparation seemed like a daunting task. Plus, he hadn't told them a story since they entered adulthood. Or maybe he told them, but they stopped listening long ago. We will start right now with the oldest, looking directly at his oldest son, Unity. You are up. Unity rose to his feet to address his family. Walking away from the table to make sure that everyone could see him, he began. My father had a tale for every occasion, it seemed. And in our youth, he would educate us using his tales. Although I thought they were useless, I have found myself referring to his stories regularly in my personal and business life. The story that stuck with me was entitled The Magic Bird, and I will attempt to tell the story.